Welcome to Rettals Pub, where we talk about the spirits while partaking of spirits. Here are your hosts, Nate and Mason.
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Rettals Pub.
I can't believe it. Doesn't seem like it's been a year.
1 year. It seems like it started a few months ago.
Yeah. Doesn't seem very long at all.
We've been meeting up here. We have met up here, 14 times?
No, this would be 13. No, 14 because we had Amanda was kind of the one-off.
Yeah. And then we did the double meet for Thanksgiving and Christmas, or the triple meet. Didn't we do 3 times?
No, just
No,
twice.
it was Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This is exciting.
Yeah, this is cool.
We started off with a little table, a little fold-ass table.
It was a card table.
And in the middle of the room, and then Nate, in his skill, got us on a solid wooden table, and we got the Duke, a good working table, and our studio looks amazing after a year.
It looks messy right this second.
I think they're all supposed to be messy.
Yeah,
right. That's the whole point.
We've got more alcohol than I've ever.
We
had
have
in my life.
included more alcohol, empty bottles, and full bottles. So we've got our pub atmosphere going on. So yeah. So what do we have here? Have here?
So for our birthday, Celeste,
Boss lady,
who we have hired as our chief marketing officer these days,
aka boss.
Yeah, she made us a cocktail. I'm not sure what all's in it exactly, but
she said it was birthday cake vodka, half and half, and some sprinkles and a dollop of icing.
Yeah. Well, but she will have a link to the actual recipe on Facebook and YouTube, and the show notes, and on Facebook on the page. So we're going to try that right now and see what we think.
All right, here we go. Come on, Duke. Bottoms up, bro.
It's not as sweet as I was expecting it to be. What you think?
It's good. I like the vodka kick. I gotta get because I don't want this icing getting in my beard.
Yeah, I'm just gonna lick it off of mine. Save it for later. Get drunk this
It's
afternoon.
nothing more worse than driving down the road and then running your fingers through your beard because it's like getting in your lips and stuff, and then you get this caked something because you combed it out and it
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah,
actually, it's pretty strong.
Yeah, it's stronger than I expected it to be. It's not as sweet as I expected it to be, which is not bad, unless you like sweet shit. Duke, what'd you think?
It burns.
It burns. That's Duke's first alcohol taste, I think. No. Oh, he's been drinking on his own without telling nobody.
I had a sip of caramel bourbon one time.
From here? Oh, was it good?
Dude, let me just say this. Non-alcoholic beer is not alcohol. Okay, so that doesn't count. This is actually quite good.
Getting some of that icing going on.
This is quite good.
Yeah.
My sinuses have cleared.
It's strong a little bit.
We're going to have some fun today.
Oh, my day's not over with either. I got to test several things. So by the time it's over with, I'm be floating something kind of good.
Lime.
I don't know what that means.
That is...
So
What,
just so
I
you
got
guys
that
get a
plain.
close up. That's icing along the top, and then the bottom there's some icing just for more sweetness. Good Lord, I can already feel this. Anyway, happy birthday.
This feels good.
I want to thank everybody for listening to us who has stayed for the last year without leaving. It's been fun. Our numbers are pretty good. Last year we had 0 at this point.
What makes you say that?
So last
Day 1 we had 0.
We had 0 numbers. But as of, I haven't checked it today, but Friday I looked and we if we combine both YouTube views and Spotify or audio, we're at just over 200 views this month.
I like that. We're going up.
Yeah, which is higher than it's ever been. I think the highest we had gotten before was 150, 175, something like that. So,
a lot of that has to do with us going to YouTube.
yeah. So all of you who are participating and listening, we appreciate it. We truly do.
You are greatly appreciated.
Yes. And invite your friends and family, or not. You know, you may not want your.
You may not want your family.
Yeah.
Listening,
or your friends, for that matter.
Especially if you are deconstructing from Christianity.
Yeah.
So, or do it.
Yeah.
Or do it. And that's always fun at holidays.
So, happy birthday to Rettals Pub.
Happy birthday.
Thanks to everybody.
Clink. All right. What you drinking?
I didn't drink it. I drank the birthday cake.
You drank the birthday thing.
Yeah. See,
it's so good.
So, guys, if you didn't hear the intro, go check out our Facebook, our YouTube, and YouTube. We'll have the recipe there for you to try it yourself and let us know.
Also, you want to talk about the giveaway?
We're not going to list what it is we're giving away, but starting in April, we're going to give away some stuff. So keep tuned to YouTube and Facebook, our Facebook page, just at Rettals Pub on Facebook. YouTube, I think, is also at Rettals Pub. So just go check us out there, and we will announce how to put your entries in, and we'll give away some stuff over the next month for our birthday.
So keep in tune.
So you get stuff for our birthday. You get birthday gifts.
You get birthday gifts
for our birthday,
because it's a blessing to give than to receive, right?
But
doesn't that just trigger everyone in the room, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, me.
So you were out of town for a while.
I was out of town. I took a vacation. I took a bucket list vacation. Since I was a kid, I have always wanted to go west. So my wife and I, we went to New Mexico and started in Carlsbad, New Mexico, and then took a week and just traveled up Mexico and ended up in Santa Fe, and then came home from Santa Fe.
Did you drive it?
The entire time.
How long was the drive? Because us guys in Texas, we measure things by the hour.
By the hour.
Not the mile.
So it took us roughly about 10 hours to get to the New Mexico border.
All that was Texas.
All that was Texas. All that was Texas. And then it took us roughly about an hour to get from New Mexico border to Carlsbad. So it was a wonderful drive. It was desert. It was beautiful. It was desolate. It was pretty interesting. But when we left Carlsbad, our intent was to go from Carlsbad to Roswell, because you can't go to New Mexico without seeing alien shit. Right?
Did you see any?
We saw aliens everywhere, bro. Yeah. We saw aliens everywhere. There were statues, there were pictures, there were billboards, there was aliens hanging off of roofs for decoration. It was just wild. The museum was fun. But when we left Roswell, the coolest thing is when we left Roswell, in the distance, in the horizon, because you can see I learned you can see for miles, right? So in the horizon, there was a mountain, right? And that mountain literally was like an inch. That's how far off it was, an inch. And we just kept watching the mountain. But let me make a little segue. If you're ever in New Mexico and you run through a little town called Vaughn, New Mexico, the best way to describe Vaughn, New Mexico is the little country backwoods town that Lightning McQueen ended up, right? That was Vaughn, New Mexico. And there was a little diner that we pulled up in there. The diner was the front desk for the hotel in Vaughn. So when you got reservations or checked into the hotel, you went to the diner car, and they gave you your key and checked you in at the hotel. It was wild. So anyway, we kept watching this mountain and just noticed that it was getting bigger and bigger, and then
Squishing your head.
and then we drove through that mountain to get to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we'd been watching it since Roswell, and which was literally a 3-hour drive. In open plains, there was no billboards, just ranch land and desolate, and Vaughn in the middle of it. And Tara was about to go absolutely nuts because there's nothing to look at, right? It's just open plains. So anyway, we went to Albuquerque, and then we wanted to. There is a mountain there. I can't remember the name of it. Sedalia Mountains. Anyway, it's the mountain there in Albuquerque, and on top of the mountain is a restaurant. It's a ski resort, right? Basically, and there's a big restaurant there, and everybody loves to go up to the mountain. You can either drive up there, or you take a tram up there. The tram was shut down.
Can you hike it?
I wouldn't hike it, bro. I mean, it's like straight.
That's kind of high.
People do hike it.
You got to climb it instead of hiking.
Pretty much. So we wanted to eat there, but they had shut the tram down, and then I think they shut the restaurant down temporarily, right? Just do some basic cleaning or whatever. The tram hasn't been updated since like the 60s or something like that. So they were adding technology and, doing some stuff, cleaning it, I guess. So this particular morning, we decided to drive, up the mountain, and it's 10,000 feet, and it took us 13 miles to go in a circular pattern. All the way to the tip top of the mountain. It took us 13 miles to get up there, and it was 55 degrees. We never went during the night. We got in the 30s, right? High would be in the 50, 55. 54 was the high mostly, but it was different than here. We were walking around in shirt sleeves, and everybody's walking around in hoodies, like, ooh, it's cold, And but we drove to this particular mountain. What was it? Wednesday morning, I want to say, and got out of Albuquerque, got to the outskirts of Albuquerque, and it was 44 degrees. 44 degrees at the bottom. Wind was blowing. And we went up the mountain, right? Took the exit, did a few dog legs, got to the mountain, and then started our 13-mile ascent, driving back and forth. And I actually put my truck in off-road mode at 8,000 feet, because at 8,000 feet there was still ice on the road. Ice on the road, and it was at an incline. And we drove from 8,000 feet to over 10,000 feet to the very tip top of the mountain where the restaurant was. And you could see the entire county. And, you could see for miles. It was beautiful. It was stunning. To put it in perspective, 10,000 feet is a Cessna airplane. Are airplanes that are not, do not air seal. Right, so that's as high as a Cessna can go, is 10,000 feet to a little bit above 10,000 feet. So when you see a Cessna, that's 10,000 feet. And Falcons fly at 10,000 feet. It was beautiful, but it was 29 degrees on top of the mountain. So in what I say, 15 miles? Mm-hmm. In 15 miles, it took us roughly about 30 minutes. We went from 44 degrees, shirt sleeve, 44 degrees, to wind blowing, snow, ice on the road in 30 minutes, 29 degrees, tip of the mountain. And coming down the mountain, there was the patch of ice that I'm talking about. There were portions of that road that was only a one lane. It was a 2-lane highway, 2-lane road. But ice had actually just covered up most of that 2 lanes. So cars were coming up, you were going down, so you had to, move over as much as you can. But the scary part is that some of those sides of the roads was like there was no boundary, right? So it was just, if you fell off, you were just you were rolling, right? So driving down, I said all that to say this, that I begin to think that of a Christian program that we're taught in the Christian world, in the evangelical world, is that you want to be on the mountaintop, right? The mountaintop is the victory, right? The mountain is the victory, and the valleys are the trials and tribulations, right? And driving down that mountain, experiencing what I experienced, is like, I was like, fuck tip top mountain victory. I don't want that. That's fucking awful. Because in the valley, at the base of the mountain, it was 44 degrees. It was warm. It was warmer, right? I was in shirt sleeves. It was routine. There was traffic. There was windbreaks, right? There was routine. There was community. There was warmth. There was gas stations. There was civilization. There was camaraderie. There was safety, right? But when you got to the mountaintop, when we got to the mountaintop of this mountain, it was violent. It was desolate. It was frozen. The wind was roughly about 20 miles an hour. It was aggressive. And I was like, they've got it wrong. Because the mountaintop experience is more violent, more aggressive, more desolate. There was no camaraderie. There was no community. There was just Tara and I, and there was another two guys there, right? But we were worried about being warm and getting our pictures, right? So there was no, hey, how you doing? It was, we're just going to look at each other and ignore each other, right? And I was like, I don't want to be on the mountaintop. I don't want to be on the mountaintop, because the mountaintop experience is violent and aggressive. Where we want to be, what I was thinking is where we want to be is in the valley trials, where it's routine, it's controlled. And then I got to thinking on a spiritual level, because in the Christian world they're like, he's the God of the valley, he's the God of the mountain, right? And the point is that whatever your spiritual practice is, he's that spiritual practice and that spiritual deity, if you have one, it's not really known. It's known in the valley, seen in the valley, and it's known and seen on the mountaintop. And it's the same concepts, right? So where you learn and you advance in your spiritual practice is not in the valley, it's not in the mountain, but it's in the journey. That's where it is. So that's one of the emotional moments, when I got to the gas station at the base of the mountain. I was like I wasn't like a baby crying, right? But I was just kind of like tearing up, because I was like, we were lied to. I felt like I was lied to, right? Because the mountaintop, oh, right? But no, I don't want to be up there. They're 10,000 feet.
The thing that comes to my mind is that the desolation of the mountain, the journey to get to it. I mean, just like we said, I asked how you can hike it up, and you said, you can't really hike it up. You got to drive it because it's straight up. But let's just take driving out of the deal and act like we're 150 years ago, when people just traveled with horse and buggy and walked. So I think you're right. I think it is all about the journey. It's not necessarily about destinations. So it's not about the journey. Yeah. It's not about it is about the journey. It's not about the valley, and it's not about the mountaintop. And in fact, I would say that you have to have both. I think that, if we take it physically or physiologically, human bodies, in order for us to become the best versions of ourselves, whether that's strength, mental, whatever the case may be, we have to go through desolate and struggle and to be squeezed in some way, like they talk about squeezing coal till you become a diamond. Similar, So there's some of this that is, I think, along those lines. I mean, spiritually, we're along a journey, and we have those mundane months and months, and then we have to climb a mountain every once in a while. Sometimes those mountains, maybe it's the dark night of the soul, where you've reached the end of your identity and you've got to figure out who you are. And the only way to do that is to have the crap stripped away from you through desolation, through isolation, through meditation, which is not the most funnest thing in the world, through fasting, which is not the most funnest thing in the world, through these aspects of
through struggle, you've got to, and maybe some people have different struggles than other people.
Some people may enjoy meditating and other people may not. So it may be the people who don't enjoy meditating that they got to meditate, so that they can strengthen whatever it is that they need to strengthen in order to get, because then once you come on the other side, down the other side of that mountain, you're going back into the mundane, back into sweep, what is it? Mop the ground, push the rock.
Carry the rock. You meditate and you carry the rock before you meditate. You meditate in your enlightenment, and then you carry the rock.
Yeah, so it's
you carry the water.
Yeah, you carry the water. It becomes the mundane again, and you have to recall. I think that's what it is. We go through these spiritual moments where we've struggled and we've struggled and we've struggled. We've had that breakthrough, to speak in Pentecostal terms, that breakthrough. Yeah. We'll get some worship music going on. You have that breakthrough, and you come down on the other side of the mountain, and you've got the tablets from Moses, like Moses, and the other people that you talk to, they're partying and dancing and worshiping golden calves, or whatever the fuck it is, and then Moses destroys the tablets and has to go right back up the mountain to be re-enlightened. And I think that's kind of a symbolic of what we go through. Now, you obviously, I've said in the past that I don't really proclaim Christianity, but there is something to that, to say that we may go through the shit and go through the desolation and the isolation and the violence of the death of ego, to come down on the other side and realize that I got to keep that ego under control, because at the point that I'm like, these motherfuckers here, look at these guys here having fun. They ain't went through shit. They just taking it easy, living their mundane life. Well, you know what? Maybe you're not off the mountain.
Yep.
There's a point where you've got to be gracious to those people, because they're going through their own journey. And who are you to judge them where they are on their journey? They're exactly where they need to be when they need to be. And that's just the way it is. And so, that's what struck me when you were talking about that, is that, yeah, the valley is the mundane. It's the daily grind. It's the getting up at, well, in your case, the crack ass at dawn.
4 o'clock in the morning.
4 o'clock in the morning, and spending your day driving around. In my case, it's, getting up. I don't have to get up at 4.
Banker's hours.
Yeah, this is true.
Yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine. Shout out to Jared. And Jared. We were talking about the valley and the mountain situation, and I told him, I said, if you've ever watched a documentary on climbing Mount Everest, right, at the base camp, there's a community, right? It's still desolate, it's still cold, it's still miserable, but when you watch in the background, there's safety and camaraderie in the group. And then when the group, the adventurers begin to climb Mount Everest, there is a pack, right? There is a tribe, there is a group that breaks off to go to the peak of the mountain. But that's where death occurs, right? So they go up the mountain with the possibility that they're not coming back down, right? And then they have to have supplies of oxygen delivered. They have to make it to the very tip top. And then even when you make it to the tip top, you got to anchor yourself in, right, at the tip of the mountain to make sure you don't get, and it's violent. It's extremely violent. And then you're not the same person you were when you come back down, because everything that is not needful is stripped away.
There's still dead bodies up there too.
Yeah, they can't bring them down.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's you got to respect that kind of person that's willing to take that step to go to that place where few people go. That's kind of what I like about spirituality is there's so many places that no one really wants to go.
Because it's scary. It is scary.
Well, it is scary because you got your it's like the you've got your herd mentality where like, yeah, we don't need to go to the mountain. We're partying just fine down here. We got everything we need with this church we're going to.
Right.
I don't need anything else. And so just as long as I have the mundane Sunday morning, maybe I go a little bit early because I want to get it done. But it's the routine stuff. It's that, and I'm not shitting on routine stuff. I mean, we got to have some routine stuff in life. But at the same time, don't embrace it and think that's all there is to life.
Don't embrace the routine thinking that you've arrived.
Yeah. And usually I think that people who embrace the routine think they've arrived.
They have. Yeah. This is it.
This is all there is. And if you go and start your own fucking podcast with a bunch of cussing and drinking, you're going to hell.
Yep.
I would ask, which hell?
Right.
Which hell are you talking about? Are you talking about this hell, that hell? I know you believe, not you, but I know people believe that there's only one hell, especially if they're in evangelicalism.
There's the hell of damnation. I used to preach on it.
Hellfire.
Man, I think I look back at some of my notes every so often on my hell sermons because I was really good at it. And I look back and I read those notes and I'm like, you were a dick.
Yeah, you pretty much were.
I was a dick.
Were. The Duke said were.
Were.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's something that we, that's something I need to embrace in various areas. I mean, in every area of your life, you've got to go through something that is not mundane. And by that, it doesn't mean that. And the other thing is to climb a mountain, you got to do it just one step at a time. So the mundane is what gets you to the top, as long as you're willing to go down that path to get to the top. And so the question is okay, are you worried about the mundane? And then being comfortable where you are now and just like, oh, hell no, I'm not going on the cliff. I'm just not going to do it. Or are you going to be like, what's on the other side of that? I don't even know, but let's go fucking find out. And that's kind of, I think that's where people who pursue spirituality as opposed to religion probably benefit a little bit better is because they're not tied to, oh my God, if I don't have Amazing Grace sung at my funeral, I'm just, I don't know, I'm going to hell.
Yep.
And in some cases, people won't eat pork because they're going to hell. In some cases, people won't do this because they'll go to hell. And again, I ask,
which hell?
Which hell? And is there any? Anyway, that's a whole another topic that maybe we notate and talk about hell at another point, or we can talk about it now. I don't know.
While you were mentioning that, do you remember going backpacking back in the day when we thought we could do that?
Well, I did it, so
yeah,
it was more than a thought.
We did it.
Yeah.
We did. We went through some. My favorite story to tell is when we endured the flash floods and I almost burnt the shelter down. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember all kind of shit about it.
So anyway, we won't talk about that.
Yeah,
so,
we might have to talk about that.
No, we're not going to talk about that.
This motherfucker.
I'm done. This podcast is over.
Let me explain something, y'all.
Oh my God.
This motherfucker. So we gonna tell this. So we stopped and I camp in a hammock because it's all off the ground. Ain't nothing to climb up in there. I had my tarp over me where I wasn't getting rained on, and Adam thinks he's gonna be Bear Grylls. And
I'm sleeping on the ground with a tarp tied up against the tree.
Yeah, same tree that one part of my hammock is on. Well, his tarp obviously did not withstand the flash flood.
No.
So he gets up and goes around. Well, then he trips on my guidelines for my tarp, and then I can't get him back in the ground because the ground's too wet.
It's too
so
wet.
Now I'm without cover because he got around there and started. And I even had little flashy things on my thing so it would reflect in the nighttime. Yeah. Let's go ahead, Tom. Yeah. We were all that sucked. But once you got through with that, there wasn't a whole lot I didn't think I couldn't do after that.
Exactly.
Because I was cold to the bone. I didn't realize that was a thing until
that was 6 hours of flash flood.
Yeah.
We had trees falling around us. We had lightning striking around us.
Yeah, it was not good.
And then to hike out, right? We were in 6 miles. We did 6 miles that day to that hilltop camp, and 5 of those miles we were in ankle deep water the entire time.
Yeah, it sucked. It was not
miserable.
It was miserable, but you know.
Well, okay. So what gets me about that story? Then we'll talk about what the Trevor. We'll talk about Trevor. Is right. We were on the mountain. We were on that hilltop camp, right? And we're just around the fire, right? Because it had a little shelter, had a fire pit. We had this blazing fire going. We're not talking to each other. We're just miserable. We're exhausted, and we're drinking coffee, and we're just looking at each other, right? Just camaraderie, and just we survived, right? And then these 2 young people come bebopping out of the tree line. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Looking like they stepped out of a freaking magazine.
You probably did.
And just these supermodels, just bloop, 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 like they didn't endure shit, right? Right? And then here we are, and then you said, "Hey guys, how y'all doing?" And then the guy took his girl and like pulled her to the other side of him and didn't say nothing. They just kept walking, and Nate was like, that was rude. And I was like, dude, look at us. We look like we survived. We look like we're Russian refugees, bro. No, and we're out in the middle of nowhere. So anyway, so Trevor, the first time Trevor went out with us, we told Trevor, don't bring canned goods. Remember that? We told Trevor before he came out, do not buy canned goods. If you buy anything canned, like canned meat, you put it in a Ziploc bag, you put it in tin foil, zip it, right? No added weight. You need to control your weight. And of course, Mr. Alpha Male didn't listen to us because he knew better. This was the first time he'd gone backpacking. He knew better, and he went to Brookshire's.
I forgot about this.
And bought every kind of canned good you could think of, right? And he had a backpack on his back, and he had a canvas jump paratrooper World War II paratroop jump bag, right, for the spare parachute hanging off his front, right, so it could counterbalance. And all of his canned goods was in that front pouch. We didn't even make it. Remember, an hour and a half into the trail.
Did we have to split his shit up so we could all carry some of it? What ended up happening with that?
No, I wasn't. I told us that no, I ain't carrying that. We told you not to bring it. So unfortunately, when he is walking, popping open cans, and just actively eating everything he's got, chunking the meat and chunking the fruit in the trail just so he could loosen his bag, right? So he can loosen his weight. And that's how we go through our journeys, right? We go through our journeys and we go through our spiritual awakenings, and we're like, we got this shit. We know what we're doing, right? And I'm going to bring all of this with me, and I'm going to survive, and I'm going to do it. And even though other people who have gone through this, right, TikTok, YouTube friends, is like, you know, we need to strip some stuff away, right? Let's strip some stuff away. And we're like, no, we're not doing that. I know what I'm doing. I can do this. And then you're, 2 weeks into your spiritual awakening, or 2 years in your spiritual awakening, and you're crying and screaming because it's too much that you know, more than you can bear, right? So then you just start stripping things that you don't need, that doesn't serve you, right?
Well, I know most people who say, yeah, it's nothing to it, has never been through it.
They've never been through it.
No, because it's not an easy thing. It's
There were times where I was thinking self-harm because it was more than what I could bear. It was more than what I could bear. And then when I went to people who were not spiritually awakening, who I assumed were spiritually attuned, right? I went to them and opened up, and
they don't want to hear it.
No. That was the worst thing to do, right? Because then you're talking with demons, right? So no, a spiritual awakening is and it does cause you to open up your canvas bags and let go.
Jettison.
And
you start jettisoning people.
He was so sick by the time we got to that first camp. He was just laying there going, oh.
Because he ate so much shit. That's funny. Anyway, so I think that's our first episode.
It's our first episode.
So you guys, thanks for listening. We're going to have probably 4 birthday episodes. So the whole month of April will be dedicated to the Rettals Pub birthday. So again, keep in mind that go to Facebook, our Facebook and our YouTube, to get the recipe for today's drink, which Celeste created, surprised us with, and then also to find out more information on how to sign up for the giveaways.
For the Rettals Pub giveaway, go to Facebook and YouTube. Keep an eye out for those, and Boss Lady will have information for you.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Love you guys.